One of the things we found interesting was trying to get inside the head of young people. I've been involved in newspapers for years, and I sometimes think that the older we get, the more conservative we become. The more we're inclined to say things like, no, we've done it before and it didn't work. We sometimes don't embrace change as well as we should. We don't see it as an opportunity, we see it as a problem. Young people must have a different view as well. They must be so aware of the fact that they're taking instruction from older people who sometimes get things so completely wrong, who sometimes hit the nail so not on the head, say and do daft things that make young people want to eat a gun. So what I'm going to do is ask some of these young people to give me and us impressions of some of the daft, ludicrous, nonsensible, cruel, unusual, bizarre and outrageous things that we as older generation journalists say and do.
I think it's Mike in the Mechanics. It says every generation blames the one before. I feel like we always have someone to blame. It's not about being young, it's not about being old. I've met a whole lot of old people who are open-minded, who are willing to speak about different things, and I've met just about the same amount of young people who are so close-minded. You just like, in what freaking year were you born, man?
When it comes to looking at an older generation of journalists, well, I look at them as role models because some of them I get to learn a lot from them, and also just like they are more experienced than us, the younger journalists. But yeah, the older generation of journalists, too much we get to learn from them.
I have a problem with older black people. What is it with calling privileged schools white schools or Indian schools? When you send a child to school, why do you have to be like, oh, ingani yami funde skole Samandia, meaning that my child is going to schools with the whites? What is that about? Why is it so important for your child to be associated with white people before they're recognized as smart?
What I enjoy the most about the older generation is their stories. You know, when I was at high school, I used to sit with my grandfather and chat with him about life, about how to handle things. Then there's this issue where he said back in days he used to go to Thobeka and work there and stay there maybe for an entire year, come back maybe during holidays, December time. And I used to have this question on my side and say, what about the people what about your wives back home? What about your kids? How are they surviving? How are they surviving the entire year without seeing you?
I like the older generation. They've done a lot. But then I think it's now time for us as youngsters to take the stand.
There's two things that bother me about the older generation. Number one is using English as a measurement of intelligence. I think we don't find the time to spend time with those around us and take in their language, take in their culture. We have 11 official languages in our country, but we don't find the time to spend with each other, to learn, to tolerate, to move forward. The second thing is stereotypes. We try to stick to stereotypes of women and men in relationships, and then thereafter complain about why the relationship has fallen apart.
What bothers me about older people is their fear for change. They fear change so much that they start saying negative things about it, or they refrain from partaking in something that's new and that they don't understand.
There aren't so many leadership positions for young people, you know, like for example in parliament and maybe in church leadership groups, or just any even basic social conventions, you know.
I love older people and I look up to them, but I believe that they're so strict to us and they don't want to accept that we are also adults and we can make our own decisions. There are even strict about us traveling, even from Durban to PMB, and some even want to choose our friends for us.
The older generation always putting that racism in children's minds, because I feel like it's the older generation that teaches children racism, because children are not born racist. They don't know anything about racism. People grow up in a society where there's racism with their parents all around, cousins all around, and have that mindset and grow up to be racist and being like nasty.